Hi! Welcome to my Budgie Care Guide series, where over the course of these videos, we'll give you all of the information you need to go out and get budgies or improve the care of the budgies you already have. Today's topic, enclosures. Your bird's space is really important to them, and we want them to get as much of a benefit out of them as possible. A budgie's enclosure needs to be a good, safe space for them where they can exercise natural behaviors and socialize with their flock mates. So with enclosures, the bigger the better. Personally, my birds have their own small room, but of course this isn't achievable for everyone. A large cage or aviary will do. You'll want to look for something with no larger than 1/2 inch bar spacing, as budgies can get their heads stuck in between the bars relatively easily with anything larger. Some people like to use glass or acrylic enclosures, but I strongly discourage this as birds have a very sensitive respiratory system and need good ventilation. You'll also lose the opportunity for your birds to climb on the bars when you have a glass or acrylic enclosure. You'll also want to have a HEPA air purifier in the room where you have the cage so your air remains clean. Some doors on some cages, in particular spring-loaded doors or doors that slide up and down, can be dangerous as well. These doors can be safe if you have them locked with a quick link. I've provided some good cage links in the description of this video. When you buy a cage, it will most likely already come with dowel perches. The ones that are the same width all throughout and are pretty cheap. I don't recommend that you use these as it can cause arthritis and bumblefoot over time, and they do have to strain a lot to hold on to these. I'd also avoid manzanita wood with the bark on and bamboo as they can have a similar effect. Manzanita wood that has been sandblasted is fine. You'll want to have a variety of different natural branch perches in the cage. Mixing different kinds of branches is good. Ribbonwood, sandblasted manzanita, dragonwood, java wood, bottle brush, etc. Whatever has good enough traction that isn't slippery for your budgie to sit on. Keep the perches in between 1/2 inch thickness to 3/4 inch thickness. Budgies do have little feet, so you'll want to size their perches for them appropriately. Also, avoid getting sticks from outside. These often contain tannins, which are toxic for your bird. If you're in a neighborhood, they could also be treated with something toxic. You can find a pretty good selection of natural branch perches at PetSmart and Petco, and online as well. Rope perches are good as well, but I would recommend vet wrapping them to prevent them from chewing on it and causing the threads to become loose, as they can get their feet caught in these threads. Certain budgies are fine without having these wrapped, but others are a bit more quirky. I like offering rope perches for my birds to sleep on, as they tend to find them very comfortable. Platform perches, so your bird can rest their feet, are good to offer as well. I keep my best perches highest up in the cage and the ones that I don't like as much a bit lower in the cage. On top of those standard perches, there is tons of joy and excitement to be had for your budgie for more interesting perches. Swings, boings, and my budgie Sleepy Time's favorite, this super fun Ferris wheel swing I got off Etsy, are really good ways to make perching interesting for your bird. You can also use seagrass mats as a spot for your bird to rest their feet as well. Certain kinds of standard perches can double as toys as well. Ribbon wood is really fun to peel the bark off of, and bottle brush wood as well. This is a bit of an unpopular opinion, but I would advise for you to avoid grapewood and cholla wood unless you have absolutely analyzed the perch perfectly to ensure the holes wouldn't be a hazard and you are a bit more experienced with your budgie so you understand what they're capable of. Some of these perches do have spots where your bird can get their head or toes stuck in them. I used to love grapewood until one day I woke up to my Linny Boba who had gotten his toenail caught in a piece of grapewood in one of the holes. I had to cut the wood to get him free. He ended up bleeding out quite a lot, and luckily I was able to get it to stop bleeding quickly. I stayed home to supervise him the rest of the day after that. Grapewood can be fine, but you'll have to check that the piece of wood doesn't have too many holes that would be the correct size for your bird to get something stuck in it. Also avoid sandpaper perches as they can cause sores on the feet. Safety perches are fine though. It basically has all of the benefits of having a sandpaper perch without having it harming their feet because the top of it is smooth and the bottom of it has that sandpaper texture that would be grinding down the nails. A lot of toys are advertised to be safe for pet birds even when they're not. Mirrors can be psychologically damaging, as when the parrot looks in the mirror, they think it's another bird, and when it can't reciprocate the attachment that the parrot feels towards it, they get frustrated and depressed. It can also cause sexual frustration, which is its whole own host of issues. Also, look out for anything your bird could get their head or feet stuck in. Avoid cotton rope toys, anything with fabric, etc. I also love seagrass mats for my budgies, personally, but certain budgies are a little bit too strong for them and could potentially get their head stuck in the gaps if they're really determined to get their head through. Look at toys when you're shopping and think about how your bird could possibly kill themselves on it, and regularly check the toys as they can become unsafe during use. My favorite toys come in two categories: foraging and shredding. Oftentimes these categories will come together for a really good toy. A budgie's favorite material to shred is mahogany pods, balsa wood, cork, yucca wood, solo wood, shredded paper, woven materials, popsicle sticks, rattan material, etc. Budgies spend around 75% of their waking time in the wild foraging. Foraging means to search widely for food or provisions. In our captive budgies, this can be foraging for toy parts or seeds. Your bird will be more interested in foraging if they are foraging for their favorite food that they only receive in foraging toys or as a training treat. I'll have the diet section of this series in a later video. Millet is my favorite thing to add to foragers as it fits in really easily and my budgies are very motivated to look for it. I also love to offer them oat groats in the spray, which I buy from PetSmart so they can forage for something in its natural form. Budgies are also ground foragers, so offering foraging toys with hay or other kind of safe bedding will encourage behaviors that they are naturally inclined to practice. For their dishes in the cage, they should be stainless steel. Plastic feeders harbor bacteria and can cause bacterial infections. Plastic is porous, and even if you clean it often, it is hard to thoroughly clean them. So for the benefit of both your bird and yourself, use stainless steel. Some birds get the mirror effect from stainless steel dishes, which in that case you can use ceramic dishes for your bird. You'll need some substrate at the bottom of the cage. Paper towel, corncob bedding, or packing paper, anything with little dust is ideal. Make sure it can't be inhaled. Avoid cotton-based bedding, newspaper, as the ink can contain heavy metals and cause poisoning, and walnut bedding, as the pieces are small enough to be inhaled. Your bird's enclosure should be kept away from the kitchen or anywhere with drafts, and outdoors. Keeping them outside leaves them at risk to predators and disease, as well as the elements. As far as temperature goes, as long as you're comfortable, so is your bird. Your bird should be kept in a bright room. You can cover the cage at night to keep it dark, or you can turn off the lights. If you find your bird having night frights, which is when they get panicked because they see a shadow through their translucent eyelids that scares them because they're prey animals, you can try covering them or provide a dim night light. Certain solutions work for different birds. They should get 12 hours of sleep every night. You don't need a snuggle hut or nesting box for your bird to sleep in. This is unnecessary and can cause your bird to become hormonal and lay eggs. Even if your budgie is male, I don't recommend it either. Aside from your bird's cage, they need a play area outside of the cage, no exceptions. A play stand with toys on it and boings and other hanging perches will do. Your budgies should get a few hours out of the cage daily. Thank you for watching. I am really hoping that this series can make properly caring for your budgie simple and accessible. If you like what I do, feel free to like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next part of the Budgie Care Guide series.